The Arctic region is vast and largely unexplored. It holds immense potential for resource extraction. Significant deposits of oil, gas, and marine life are believed to be present. This makes the Arctic a region of great interest to many countries. However, the presence of these resources also creates the potential for conflict. Global powers are increasingly competing for access and control. This competition has turned the Arctic into a potential flashpoint for geopolitical tensions. The melting of Arctic ice, driven by climate change, has made the region more accessible. This has intensified the competition for resources. Countries are now able to explore and potentially exploit these resources more easily. This increased accessibility has also led to the emergence of new shipping routes. These routes have the potential to reshape global trade patterns. The Arctic is also home to delicate ecosystems. These ecosystems are threatened by climate change and potential pollution from resource extraction. The environmental consequences of increased activity in the Arctic are a major concern. International cooperation is essential to ensure that any development in the region is sustainable and minimizes environmental damage. The Arctic is becoming a focal point for global power dynamics. The competition for resources, the emergence of new shipping routes, and the environmental challenges all contribute to this. The Arctic is no longer a remote and isolated region. It is now a key area of geopolitical interest and potential conflict. Russia has a long history of involvement in the Arctic. It has the longest Arctic coastline of any country. It also possesses a significant icebreaker fleet. This gives Russia a clear advantage in navigating the Arctic's icy waters. Russia sees the Arctic as crucial to its national security and economic interests. Russia has been actively developing its Arctic infrastructure. It has been building new ports, military bases, and research stations. This demonstrates Russia's commitment to asserting its presence in the region. Russia's Northern Fleet, based in the Kola Peninsula, is responsible for protecting its Arctic interests. NATO has expressed concerns about Russia's growing military activity in the Arctic. The alliance has increased its own presence in the region. This includes conducting military exercises and strengthening partnerships with Arctic nations. The increased military activity by both Russia and NATO highlights the growing geopolitical significance of the region. The United States, while not an Arctic nation, has also taken steps to protect its interests in the region. The US has conducted freedom of navigation operations in the Arctic to challenge Russia's claims to control over key shipping routes. The US has also expressed concerns about China's growing interest in the Arctic. China has declared itself a near-Arctic state. It has been steadily increasing its presence in the region. China sees the Arctic as a potential source of resources and new shipping routes. It has been investing in scientific research and infrastructure projects in the Arctic. China has been actively engaging with Arctic nations. It has signed agreements on scientific cooperation and infrastructure development. China's Polar Silk Road initiative aims to enhance connectivity between China and Europe through the Arctic. This demonstrates China's long-term strategic vision for the region. China's growing presence in the Arctic has raised concerns among some Arctic nations. They worry that China's economic and strategic interests could undermine their sovereignty. China's activities in the Arctic are therefore being closely watched by other countries with interests in the region. China's Arctic ambitions are part of its broader geopolitical strategy. China is seeking to secure its access to resources and expand its global influence. The Arctic, with its untapped potential, is a key part of this strategy. China's growing presence in the Arctic is likely to continue to shape the geopolitical dynamics of the region. India, though geographically distant from the Arctic, has also recognized the region's growing importance. India has been conducting scientific research in the Arctic for several years. It established a research station in Svalbard, Norway, in 2008. India's research focuses on climate change, glaciology, and atmospheric sciences. India's Arctic policy emphasizes scientific research, environmental protection, and international cooperation. India sees the Arctic as a global commons and advocates for a rule-based order in the region. India is also interested in the potential economic opportunities in the Arctic, including shipping and resource development. The geopolitical landscape of the Arctic is constantly evolving. The competition for resources, the emergence of new shipping routes, and the effects of climate change are all contributing to this dynamic environment. The Arctic is becoming increasingly integrated into global affairs. The Arctic is no longer a peripheral region. It is now a stage for great power competition and cooperation. The actions of countries like Russia, China, and India will continue to shape the future of the Arctic and its impact on the global order.